this chapter made me realize, especially after going into the rules of this, that some people generally don't know what a one-shot is. Like, for like people to kind of describe what a one-shot is, the people, that is an opponent getting taken out, I know, brace yourselves, in one shot, one punch, kick, you know, boom, bada bing, bada boom, all that kind of beautiful stuff, and coming to people say, oh no, like, oh, Jacob and all that, he's gonna get one shot. I don't know if people notice this or really have a look at some of these chapters. I don't know, this is a hypocrite coming from me, I fucked up on a chapter recently, but, like, he literally was beating the dog shit out of him, punching, like, both of them on there, like, both Natsu, Lucy, and all of them getting some hits in, and it's like, nah, that's a one shot, but apart from that, let's actually get talking about this chapter, because boy oh boy, have we got to talk about some this finale that involves Jacob, Natsu, Lucy, and also as well, Zereth. So we finally get to see Zereth in his new gear, and I gotta say, like, a lot of people, since there was only one little picture that we really had to talk about during the Raw, we finally get the full guard. I gotta say, yeah, he now looks something more befitting of the king. It's kind of nearly almost like his same design, although he has got like a different, like, he's got this big massive royal cape now. He's also as well, he still keeps like kind of like the toga kind of cape scarf that he has, but then as well he also has a new kind of different attire to him, which I was like, oh, I like that. And it's like, yeah, we get to see with E.N.D, was like, we are now going to actually, like, you know, march with Fairy Tail, and it's like, you know, what people, like, the army's kind of freaking out a little bit, and it's like, you know, among the sprinters and all that, we've had 5 members already eliminated. It's like, is this a joke? Like, what's happening? Are we going in there? And it's like, you know, like, that's the thing, Zereth doesn't seem like he particularly gives too much of a fuck, and he's like, he already knew that one of them was actually the work of Akame, and he's like, oh, but who's counting anyway, like that, I don't care, and all that. And he's like, all my doubts have been cleared right now. Natsu made this, I will paint every of your existence with the darkest of black. And then we actually cut back to Natsu and Lucy fighting with Jacob, and I gotta say, like, you know, he was getting in a few hits, he was getting a few fucking blows and all that, and he was like, he was a bit of the, like, expert at, like, hand-to-hand combat. He was getting, like, both Natsu and Lucy a couple of blows, like, even throughout the entirety of this, and it's like, I've got to say, even with that, like, the way how this actually won the day, like, with this entire thing, is actually thanks to Lucy. All of this was actually only because of her that we was actually able to pull this off, and I gotta say, that's what I fucking want to see from Lucy. Like, she wants to, like, save her friends, and it's like, this is what she's saying, like, oh, your allies are in there as well, you know, brandishing, and she's like, wait, what? And he's like looking inside of this orb, and he's like, oh shit, they're fucking in there. He's like, you know what, oh, now they hear the end of this tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, let me get out this little piece of shit Brandis, and let me get out this Marin motherfucker out here, right there. And it's like, you know, Jacob, what the fuck, and all that. He's like, yeah, you saved the highs, Jacob, yeah, good job, man, good job. And it's like, oh shit, there's 2 Marins, what the fuck? And we finally get to see the star-dressed version of Gemini, and I gotta say, like, with Gemini, like, when we got seen there, I was like, what the fuck? So now the star-dressed form of it is actually able to fully copy a person and their magic from there, instead of, like, kind of what she did, what the original version is, like, what she got to see was, like, she kind of combined the power and helped stabilize this, you know, the use Metrium, like, especially with what we saw with the Aquarius one as well, that was actually just, she was able to do it all on her own with that. So the Stardress definitely does help out balance the power in general, but when we get to see with what this one is like, which I gotta admit, this is fucking kind of clever, using his space commandment like magic, actually using that against him and able to reverse, like, all spatial magic is ineffective throughout here, and he's like, yeah, Stardress is gone, all of my power is like, it's gone for while we're in this barrier and all that, but I can bring everyone back to this dimension. And I was like, I am glad, like, for this whole reason with the Raw, I was like, I'm so glad it was, like, my theory came right about that, because, like, Lucy was, like, snickering, and she was like, yes, I was like, okay, this must be up to Lucy's strength. I've got to say, that's actually clear that out of Lucy. I've got to say, she did something real well there, and I really do appreciate they did that, and it's like, yeah, fucking, like, most of this nature was because of Lucy. It's like, she was the main reason that she was able to pull this off, and it's like, oh yeah, another pain in my ass, one of these with these fodder and all that, or you get the hell out of my sight, vanish. And it was just like, I've got to say, the way how he tried to fucking do it again, and just, like, I will admit, that was stupid, is when fucking Mavis threw fucking happy in his, like, hands. I'm like, oh my god, this motherfucker, this piece of shit. But then fucking Makarov getting in there, he's like, yo, you hurt the fucking, like, you hurt the first and all that, and he's like, you know, I gotta show you the first one, this right there. Punk literally punches him with the giant fist right out of the fucking gill, takes it out, and it's just like, yo, like, Natsu's like, yo, like, you're going too much, you're wrecking the gill, and he's like, look who's calling, like, the pot calling the kettle black, and he just throws the fucker out of there. Now, here's the thing that comes out with this chapter as Natsu comes flying out and all that. This is the bit where I'm sure a lot of people are going to go fucking crazy out of, and they're saying, yo, the whole thing is evaporating when she's leaving and all that, you know, the lake is evaporating, what's going on? And Natsu says those words, Blaze Dragon King mode, his Fire Dragon King mode, and then he does the Fire Dragon King Demolition Fist. And he not only takes the fucking lake water, but he also as well beats the shit out of Jacob, flies him out, and there you go, there's Jacob done here and there. Now, we're not going to be talking about the whole thing about Jacob being defeated, that's the thing, because here was the thing, and I know this is what people are going to be coming out with and saying, oh, how is that possible? That's bullshit. And this is the whole reason, it's like, how is Natsu able to do the Fire Dragon King mode into this situation? Like, how was he able to do it after he losing his powers, after the whole situation with Zera? Well, I can't believe I'm gonna actually have to try and explain this and all that, because trust me, for like this chapter I was lost as well. I was like, what the hell is this, a giant plot? Oh, you know, here, what the fuck, what's going on here? Like, what did you do with it? Like, really? Like, you just kind of built up to nothing, like, kind of like that. So I can't believe I'm gonna have to use this volume as a reference. Probably the first time this arc is ever gonna be useful in anything is actually gonna be the actual Avatar arc, volume 51 I am talking about, and we're gonna be talking about the time Natsu used his one fist, you know, one little strike to take down that god of war that we got to see. Now, here's the thing with that, he also used his power of Igneel at that time as well, from what we saw. Like, we get to see him actually use the Dragon King fist on the Avatar, and it was able to break it up, it was able to fuck it up, and I was like, yo, that's okay, that's how we sort it out, that's how, like, pretty much that battle was. I'm not going to defend that arc, I really don't like Avatar, or I still think it's the worst arc in Fairy Tail, actually. It's really kind of like I really shave after, like, the time skip that we kind of got that. But here's the thing with that, though. Remember that he didn't actually unleash his power right there. He didn't, you know, he didn't unpull the bandages, he didn't do anything like that. He was saving it for Zera. Now, I was reading out throughout this like entire chapter, and I was rereading the chapter as well of the Natsu versus Zera fight, and every translation I've read of it so far, and all that, I've read the official ones on Crunchyroll, I've read different versions of it, I've read every different version of it thus far. And all of them keep saying, once you use that mode, once you use that, that's it, that's gone. It's, you know, that's the last bit of this power going on here. And I was thinking like, well, how is he able to do it then with the Avatar stuff? How is he able to harness into a bit of that power? And this is one of my only reasons to go out. Now, this is the thing, this isn't defending it, because I'm still a little bit mixed on here, but this is my own 2 cents on the whole, what the fuck happened, how is he able to use it? My guess is that Natsu was actually, during those whole 10 months of him actually learning that power, he was storing it up into that actual crest that you got to see. Think of it as like Tsunade's kind of like little crystal gem that she has in her head. Think of it as like that jutsu. Like, I think it's kind of working in the same way that he just stored up all that power in 10 months. And whatever he's got there, he can't recollect. He can't get those 10 months back, like, in training of that. That's gone. I think he can somewhat like harness and tap into it slightly. I think it's still lingering into his powers, but that's the thing though. I still don't know if that's the actual case with it, but so far that's my only defense of it, and the case is, I'm still a little bit mixed about that, because it's still like, he could have used any other mode. He could have used, like, you know, the Fire God mode, whether or not he's still got that, because he's still able to use the Lightning Fire Dragon mode. Like, he could have done any other attack, and I don't think anyone would have mattered too much. Mind you, I think a lot of people are still going to be mixed on the whole Jacob fight. Personally, I think, like, the Jill fight's a little bit worse than this one. I think, actually, this gave a good moment of shine for Lucy, like, coming back. Although, it would have been nice if Lucy was able to take it all on her own, but, you know, like, with Natsu coming in, I kind of did like the tag team of them. It made, like, it showed Lucy that she won the fucking day. Like, if it wasn't for her, Jacob would have just kept going invisible, and he would have just slaughtered the Fairy Tail people in the different dimension like that. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, she was to do that. Although, she couldn't have used any more of her magic then, because it was absolutely rendered useless. So I kind of did like appreciate that Lucy was generally the 80% of the reason how they were able to win. And also as well, it wasn't just Natsu, it was Makarov managed to get a fucking blow in there as well, and then he had to finish it off. However, it's still the question though, like, I still want to see the official version of what Kodansha is going to have for that version. I'm pretty sure from like all the translations that I've been seeing, like the whole thing about like the next volume we are going to be getting, which is going to cover the whole Dragon King mode of it. So I'm still thinking they're going to be saying the same thing about it, where it's like, yes, it's going to disappear. Yes, it's like, you know, you can't use that power again. I still think it's a little bit, so I kind of don't want to give too much of a score for this chapter. Like, I don't really like that part, but that doesn't mean I don't exactly hate this fight because of it. However, if next chapter does explain a little bit more into it, I would appreciate it. I have a slight sneaking suspicion that it won't. So I am mixed still on this chapter, guys. Although you can use this, like, you can use the stuff I reference as a little grain of salt into the matter as well. And I can't believe volume 51, I had to come into this stuff. I thought I'd read it one time, boom, there you go, that's it. But this thing, as it's a little bit of a defense, that's the thing. I'm not full, like, you know, well, you know, I enjoy it, like, you know, I'm not going to be full fairy tale on this stuff here. But then also as well, I am going to try as the best of my ability do a little bit of research, which I've learned to do now, like to actually, you know, check stuff out, see if they, oh, hang on a second, how does that make sense? So you can take that with a grain of salt, whether or not you want to believe that's the case with Natsu's power, whether or not he just accumulated, that was about 10 months, near to a year's of that power, and then actually just branded it up like into like an actual dragon seal like that. That's what you can think of it as, a tattoo. Or you think he can still tamper into the bit of the power, but what he was saving up, that isn't compared to the power that he was using against Zeref. So there's a lot of things into it. My personal opinion, he shouldn't have even used it in the first place, because then we wouldn't have been having this problem in the chat. I would have been saying, yeah, I like this chapter, it was fine, I enjoyed it. I would have liked if it was Fire God mode came back. I would have loved if he had that mode, because we've seen him use Fire Lightning Fire Dragon mode a couple of times. So I think like Heroes just kind of just didn't give a shit anymore about it. It's like, Fire God mode, I'm kind of done with it. But we'll have to wait and see, honestly. I'm kind of looking forward to like the next one called like the Northern Gravestone. So I've actually got some interest in that chapter. But that isn't the end of Fairy Tail videos, guys. Today, don't worry, I am going to give you another video as well, which is going to be talking about the Season 3, also as well, the new project as well of the anime. So look forward to that. But honestly, I kind of don't want to grade this chapter. That doesn't mean I don't hate this, but until maybe next week, unless we get some more explanations on this, I kind of don't want to say I like it or hate it. Personally, I think like the chapter was fine up until that point. I think everything in that chapter was fine. It's great. Like, no, yeah, like I still think we need more of the Springers to kind of step their game up. I still think we still need some better ones like coming out there. Here's hoping that Nineheart. Here's hoping like Intel. You know, here's hoping like a bunch of these other like from what we've seen so far. I'm hoping for them to actually come out and like actually be something. So that's my kind of expectation for it. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What did you think about this chapter of like Fairy Tail? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Do you think I'm right with my theory about the whole situation with Natsu with the Dragon King mode? Other than that, that's all from me. I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, if you love Fairy Tail as much as I do, hit that like button. And also as well, hit that subscribe as well. That's all from me. I'll be Savagezweipanda, and I'll see you and you Fairy Tail fans, don't worry, next time.